Welcome to Foam to Fortune, the ultimate podcast for spray foam insulation industry. Whether you're a contractor aiming to take your business to the next level or a vendor bringing innovation to the market, this is the place where success stories are shared, insider tips are uncovered, and the industry secrets are revealed. Join us as we dive into the journeys of the spray foam pros who turn their dreams into thriving empires and discover tools and strategies to build your own path to fortune. Ready to elevate your spray foam game? Let's get started. Foam to Fortune, where innovation meets inspiration. What's up, guys? I'm Spencer, the host of the Foam to Fortune podcast. And today I got a really extremely special guest. Her name is Courtney Sanders. She is the owner of Old South Insulation, located in Alabama. And this is a first for the Foam to Fortune podcast. We're coming to you live from Flowers Hospital, you guys. Courtney is there on bed rest, expecting her fourth child. What's up, Courtney? Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. I know you know some of the folks here in the spray foam business, but a lot of people don't know who Courtney is. Why don't you share who you are, like how you got started and such like that?
Yes, so I am Courtney, and I started in 2022. I bought my first rig from Pro Foam out of Georgia, and I have a background in the medical field, no spray foam prior knowledge. And I got into spray foam out of necessity and opportunity. My dad had bought a rig, and he didn't want to sell me his, so I went and bought my own, and that's how Old South started.
I love it. I love it. So you're a mother of four boys, you were telling me pre-show, and you're going through a divorce. Three boys, fourth on the way, which is the first girl. Congratulations, girl power. And your dad had this, this opportunity. He thought he thought he'd become a spray foamer when he was spray foaming some agriculture buildings, and found out, man, this is way harder than we expected.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah, he bought the rig, and he never even started it. He never cranked it up. He was like, I'm too old for this. And my mom said, Courtney, you should make a business out of this. And my dad said, no, it's too hard. This is a man's industry. This is very physical, labor intensive. I wouldn't want this for you. Not that he doesn't believe that I can, but it's just people in the industry, we all know this is a hard industry. This is not, there's other parts of construction. I would venture to say that spray foam is quite possibly one of the hardest parts of the construction because of the heat and just all the elements that come with it. And he didn't want that for me. So I had looked into like what success rates there were. And so the internet lied, but I went based off of that and bought my own rig from Pro Foam.
I love it. It's such a cool story, because you were telling me pre-show that you come from the medical side of things, and you're also the daughter that was afraid to do outside chores, was kind of prissy, didn't like bugs. And now you're like in spider infested areas, hanging out, doing a very, we'll just say, difficult job, which is totally outside of what your parents probably would have expected.
100%. Yeah. Like I didn't even like feeding our animals because I was scared of our dogs. So, there have been times that I've been in crawl spaces and there was a roof rat that was like humongous. And I asked my dad, I was like, Daddy, did you ever think that me, your daughter, would be in a crawl space with a roof rat? He was like, if I had to put money on a child, I would have never chose you.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds like you would have lost a lot of money expecting you were going to be doing this, because you said that your oldest sibling was the one that was, into the farm animals and more of the outdoor, and it sounds like a tomboy, and and you were, more of the girly girl.
Beauty pageant.
Now you're doing the opposite, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's right.
let's take a look back at the beginning. What inspired you to start, Old South Insulation, and what did the early days look like building the business from like the ground up?
So, when I had first started, the thought process was everything on this rig, I think that I can physically handle. And I weighed about 115, 120 pounds when I started this business. And I didn't have a generator, and we still don't. All my generators roll off. Um, and that generator is about 300 pounds. So it was double me.
Yeah.
Um, but I, in my mind, had acquired Hulk like, I guess, strength. But the biggest thing for me was, you could be great. You could be wonderful. There's so many people in this world that are very skilled and talented, but no one knows about them. So my biggest thought and when I started the business was marketing. I've got to
Hmm.
promote, I've got to push, and I've got to market myself because we are our own advocate. And if no one knows who Old South is, then I just have a great idea that's dead in the water. So I really started spending my money there. I bought the rig, and prior to even having a rig, I was marketing a skill, the spray foam skill. And I appreciate Spray Foam Worldwide because I joined it and I stole someone's pictures and I promoted it and put
Heck
it on
yeah.
my Facebook.
Fake it
And
till you make it.
yes, I'm a huge proponent of fake it till you make it. Now, there is a thing like you fake it till you make it, and I think that you will forever as a business owner have imposter syndrome. Like, am I really am I really capable? Am I really good, or am I just a really big fat liar?
Hmm.
And so definitely in the early stages, I was like, I'm the biggest, fattest of all of the liars. Um,
Yeah.
but I had used Facebook marketing, and I know that's something that in Spray Foam Worldwide, a lot of people say, "Hey, what marketing has worked for you?" And 100%, that's where I put all my dollars in marketing was Facebook.
Yeah.
And my very first job that I got hired for, they found me off Facebook, and it was working for Fort Rooker, spraying for their helicopter pads, their helicopter refueler buildings, and there was 12 of them. So my
What?
very first job out of the
Oh,
gate, having zero experience other than the class that they offered you at Proform, which was a weekend,
yep.
was spraying refuelers.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it,
What an intro into this business. It's like, all right, we're going to give you a huge project.
right, right. And the guy said, "So this is what we were thinking, but we want to look to you as the expert." And I was like, me,
You're
the
like, well,
expert.
I mean, yeah, I'm an expert. I haven't even sprayed one job. That is awesome.
Right, right. So hold on one second. I'm on a podcast for work. Can you come back later? Yeah, thank you. um, Gotta check my vitals.
Yeah, I love that.
Um, but that was probably the best possible scenario because it typically government jobs they have QC and they're very anal, and for whatever reason these guys were like, yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, that looks good. It was terrible. It called for 4 inches on the roof and 3 inches of closed cell on the wall, 4.5 inches of closed on the roof and 3.5 on the wall. And I like those were my first jobs, and I was doing it by myself. I didn't have a crew. I didn't have a prep crew. So I'd worked it out
Hmm.
with them like, "Hey, can you prep it and I'll spray it?" So they prepped it. The military did, and then I sprayed it. And the QC guy came back and he said, "Ma'am, you've got 8 inches on the roof and 6 on the wall." And I said, "You just got a bang for your buck, didn't you?" It was
Not as
awful.
much profit as not as much profit as you would have hoped.
It was awful. But I had 12 of those buildings I had to do. By building 6, I was proficient and I had it. I'd figured it out. And So I didn't lose money. I was able to make it and make profit from it and do well. And because I started off with such an immense project, a large project, I was able to use that reference and use that company and get more jobs. But it all came from promoting my business, and I invested in having professional graphics done. It wasn't a picture of me or a building or work that I'd done. It was professional graphics, and I was able to uh, use that. And so, going back to fake it till you make it, as long as you can look like you know what you're doing, then you'll make it.
Hey, Foam Fam, real talk. You're up early in attics, busting your butt all day. Is your Google business profile sleeping? If your name isn't showing up when people are searching spray foam near me, then you're losing out on jobs to Chuck and his rusty van. We over here at Spray Foam Genius Marketing will fix that for you. From SEO to Google business profiles to websites, yeah, we do all that nerdy stuff. This way, you stay booked solid. If you want more leads without getting the bad ones, hit us up at sprayfoamgeniusmarketing.com and let's turn your foam into fortune. I love to hear that as an owner of a marketing company, somebody like yourself that, obviously probably has a lot more knowledge these days than you did when you first started, but you were like, you know what, this is how I'm going to be successful. And I'm going to do this and get my name out there. And now I know you're probably doing a lot more social media type of stuff and filming things and making reels and TikToks and things of that nature in order to really drive traffic to the business. But day one, you're not knowing much about, how do I get my name out there?
Right.
Let's just focus on on Facebook with somebody else's pictures and let's get some jobs under our belt. So what an amazing story. I mean, day one, you're doing a huge project, which, governmental type jobs, everybody loves, right? Because, you're going to make some decent money with the government when you're doing that. So has that earned you, I'm just curious, has that earned you a reputation for future jobs since this first one?
Oh yeah. From that, I was able to sign a 5-year contract. So I am the spray foamer for Fort Rooker for the next 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
You guys hear that? That is amazing. Good. Congrats, Courtney. That's like, God, that's, I don't know what that contract's worth dollar amount, but I'm sure it's a nice contract to have and
hmm
some very reliable money that you
Correct.
can count on for your business growth
hmm
off of somebody's Facebook page or
Yes.
Facebook page.
Whoever spray foamed a building and they painted it white on the walls and black on the roof, like I owe you a lot. That was the
Right?
picture I used. And we
Courtney
have
owes you a
since now that's
sincere.
like the standard. People are like, I want that. I want the white walls and the black roof. And so that's one of ours, like, oh yeah, Old South, they'll paint their foam for you and it looks really good. So that's kind of a
So that's like
reputation
your
we've created.
trademark.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. I mean, that's pretty inspirational. So, I know spray foam. It's not an easy business to grow, especially in a competitive market like Alabama. I'm sure there is a ton of companies being in the South, and being because you guys are so hot all the time, people are using it to keep their homes and their shops cooler. Um, what are some of the biggest hurdles that you had to overcome when you first started? And like, was there a certain thing that you rely on to today to like that helped you push through those hurdles?
So there are quite a few companies in my area. And one of the companies in my area, I created a TikTok page too. So I was really going hard in the marketing paint. I went
Mhm.
hard in marketing. So I had Facebook and TikTok that I was
Yep.
really promoting myself. And so he said, guys, look, this is who we're up against. And he showed his crew my TikTok. And they laughed. They're like, this girl doesn't have a clue what she's doing. And so I
Challenge
faced
accepted.
yeah, exactly. So that kind of got around in our community. Like we're in South Alabama, it's a small rural area. And so I had gone to bid jobs and they were like, "Oh, yes, so and so said there was a woman that was out here and she didn't know what she was doing. You must be that woman. So I had to overcome that reputation that preceded me, that I didn't, I didn't have any choice in the matter. That was what was said, and that was something that I had to go up against. And so now it's really funny because a lot of people are like, "Oh, you need to call Courtney Old South. She knows what she's talking about." Like, that's who I trust to do my stuff. So it's, you know, all you c- all you can do when you have something that goes against you is just prove them wrong. And that's what I always want to do, is prove them wrong, not by my words, but by my actions.
Have you always had kind of this inner fierceness?
No, I used to be scared of everything.
Okay.
I was
What
scared
what
of
what
everything,
changed?
like,
Was it your divorce that
yeah,
kind of made you feel
absolutely.
like your back was against the wall? I have 3 boys I gotta take care of. How am I gonna figure this out? It's either I figure it out or we
Right.
go hungry.
That's right. Exactly. When you become a mother, I think that that mama bear instinct it's a
Mm,
real thing. And
I see
so
your pajamas there
I
too.
would,
Embroidered mama.
yeah, yeah, that's right, mama. I've got my hospital gown with my mama on it. But yeah, when you're a mom, you have two options, like make it or not. And like, really, who's going to choose not? You're going to make it. So you're going to fight. And so things that, I had the luxury to be scared of, I couldn't be scared of anymore. I had to face a lot of fears. And so, um, yeah, I think that definitely going through my divorce and being a single mama of three boys and saying, I've got to raise boys. Like, I don't want them to be scared. They've got to have
Mhm.
a fierceness too. So they've got to learn fierceness from me.
And they gotta see that from mom, because if they see mom not being fierce, then I mean, especially boys that are gonna be men someday,
That's right.
they have to be able to really see their mom
Mm-hmm.
kicking butt.
Mm-hmm.
And then especially this new baby girl that's
Mm-hmm.
going to be here within the next few weeks, she's got to see her mom kicking butt as well.
Yep. That's right.
Man, I love it. I love it, Courtney. I'm having this is so fun so far. Um, as a woman being in this business, I know you kind of touched on it, but I'm sure there's been a huge amount of challenges that you've faced. But can you share with me like what your experience has been like as a female business owner, number one, but also as a business owner, or I guess a female within inside a male dominated spray foam industry?
Sure. There's been pros and cons. And I always want to point that out. Wherever there's bad, there's also good people, and always find the good people. I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't have some of the good men who have stepped out and helped me. Because, like I said, I've made that TikTok. And Corey, uh, out of Georgia, GE Spray Foam Solutions, he saw me and he's like, "This girl is struggling. She's struggling." So he reached out and he was like, "Hey, do you have anyone who's like kind of helping you?" I was like, "Man, I'm winging this." He said, "Well, I'm on my way to Pensacola for a job. I'll stop in Dothan and I want to show you some things that'll make your life easier." And he
Okay.
did. And so that first year, when something would blow up or just be completely obliterated, I would call Corey. Like, "Corey, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, we had the same machine. We bought our trailers from the same company." And so he was a lifeline that very first year. And then Profoam had sent me out a trainer. So when you buy a rig from them, you go for a weekend, they train you, and then they send a guy out to work with you on your first job. And his name is Brandon. And so
Yeah.
Brandon was a lifeline for me. And Brandon and I, to this day, we are thick as thieves. Like, he's one of my, he's a great friend of mine. Um, and so I don't want to ever discredit the good in the industry, or as being a woman in a male dominated industry, because there's so many good people that have helped me. But there have also been, like I said, the competitive company that was like, "Look at this woman. She thinks she's going to beat us. Ha ha ha." Um,
Yeah.
um, but I did have to face, even my own dad being like, "Courtney, this is a man's world. Like, this is really hard for you." Like, my very first person was my dad. And it wasn't that he is a chauvinist or whatever. It's just it is hard. Would I
Yeah.
want my daughter to do this? I don't know. Like, this is the stuff that I have done is really hard. There have been
Hmm.
times that I have been crying and I was like, God, I never wanted to work like a man. And I mean, I had, when I was learning and I was on those government jobs, like, there was one day I just laid down on the floor and had a fit like a child. I just had a fit.
Well deserved, I'm sure. Well deserved.
Yes, but uh the hard parts, I think, are hard for men and women. Learning to run a business is hard.
Yeah.
Knowing where to start, because there's so many places that can lead you to success or failure, and picking the right one, that's hard. But I think the good and the help that I had far outweighed the bad of the people who were like, "Oh, she's a woman, she doesn't know." I think the world we live in has come an exceptionally long way, and
Yeah.
if anything, being a woman, I don't think a man could use the narrative that I have been able to use. I'm a single mom with 3 children. There would be people like, "Uh, I'm gonna give her a chance." Whereas
Yeah.
if I were a man, they would be like, show me your work, show me your credentials, and give me the best deal. There have been
Hmm.
times that I have gotten jobs, and I wasn't the cheapest bidder. And they said, we want you because we know you're a single mom. And so it's
Yeah.
given me opportunities that I might not have had if I were a man. So I will, you've got to use every card in your catalog, and I have.
I, I love that. I would never have guessed that. I mean, as a guy that grew up with a single, a single mother house, and I knew how hard she worked for us. I could see that.
Mhm.
um, Now, if a woman showed up to spray foam my house or to give me a bid, I don't know necessarily if that would run through my mind, but I'm glad to see that there is people out there that would be like,
Mhm.
I want to give you a shot because of your story, which your
Yeah.
story is very inspirational. So that's awesome that you've had people that have directly told you like, hey, I'm going to give you this job because of who you are, your story, or we know that
Right.
it's hard out there. So
Yeah.
um,
Well, it's opened up opportunities. People say, "Why are you doing this?" And then I get to share my story. If you, a man, went, they're not going to ask you why you're doing it. It's
even if
ex-
I even if
it's
my story is
expected.
the same, like I
Exactly.
have kids to take care of, I'm a single dad. They
Hmm.
go, you know,
They're not going to
good for
ask.
you.
Like, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to ask you because you're a man, and it's
Yeah.
expected that a man would run that type of business. So there's no curiosity. But when a
Hmm.
woman shows up, they're like, "Oh, what? Why did
What's
you
going
do
on here?
this? Why are you not a teacher?"
Or are you just a sales rep? Or no, I'm the
Right.
owner.
Are you filling in
Are
for
you?
your husband?
Yeah, who's installing this?
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to be installing? Whoa,
Yeah.
okay. Now you've got my attention.
Right. I've got a lot of
You're going
people
to
who have said, "Is this you and your husband's company?" I'm like, "No, it's just me. I have no husband."
yeah. That ship was sailed.
Hmm. Yep. I
I
said,
love it. I love it. What's it like these days when you show up? I mean, now that you have some experience, you're a little bit more polished than when you're spraying those what was it, the helicopter hangers.
"Mm,
Um you show up now, you have a little bit more swagger, a little bit more confidence. Do you still get a little bit of that friction or that pushback these days?
sure." Because I mean, I just started in 2022, so not everyone knows my name yet. Um,
Mhm.
and I still feel, that like, oh, I'm still faking it. Because when I first started, like I said, I wore heels and dresses. So I changed my whole wardrobe to Carhartt pants and work boots. And like, I felt like, am I playing dress up? Like, I'm wearing the blue collar clothes.
Yeah.
Um, but now I feel so much more confident when I am going. I'm like, they might doubt me, and that's okay. But there's not a question that they can ask me that I'm not going to be able to answer.
Hmm. Exactly, because you have that experience now, and I don't know how many jobs you've sprayed, but I'm sure you have plenty under your belt that you feel extremely confident. It's like the reps in the gym. You've done the reps. Now you're a professional bodybuilder versus going in as a,
Yep.
a skinny twig saying I'm a bodybuilder.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Man, amazing, amazing. So I could imagine that the swagger, the confidence now lands a lot of jobs for you. There may be initial shock when Courtney shows up and says, "Hey, I'm here to bid your job."
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, okay, a woman. They start talking to you, your education, your personality, all of these jobs. Probably a lot more than, why are you here?
Right.
Like
Right.
you asked in the beginning. Now you're like, just firing, I'm sure, on all
Yep.
cylinders. What's one thing you believe the spray foam contractors get wrong when it comes to growing their business? And what would you tell somebody that's just starting out?
Like I said, like I came with no skills. And just because you have skills doesn't mean you're going to have a successful company. Um, and so relying solely on your ability to quote lay butter is not going to equate to a successful business. So you can be the best spray foamer out there, but if no one knows who you are and you're not promoting yourself, then you're not going to get any jobs. And this goes, when I started my business, it was me spraying foam. And then I had two of my guy cousins that one worked offshore and one worked second shift. And they were like, we'll help you as we can. Well, that didn't last very long. So I hired two boys that had no experience whatsoever, taught them how to spray foam. One of the guys, after working for me for a few months, said, you know what? I'm pretty good at this. I think I might be better than her. And so he started his own business. He quit working for me and started his own business. Now he laid great. He did great foam, but he's already out of business because it doesn't. I mean, it matters. Your quality matters. Your skill does matter. Like, I'm not negating that, but your ability to promote yourself has to be number one.
Yeah. I have this conversation quite often. It doesn't matter how good you are at spray and foam if nobody can find you. If
That's
you're on
right.
page 2, if you're on page 2 of Google, or nobody can even find you, and they're not going to have an opportunity to find out. You can be the best person out there spraying foam, but if you don't have the marketing that's pushing you to the top, they're never going to be able to find you.
That's right. And
So,
the art of the deal is so important.
yeah. What can you expand on the art of the deal? Like, what do you think the art of the deal is for you?
So when I would go to jobs, there would be times they would say, okay, well, this person's cheaper than you. Why should I go with you? They're cheaper. They've been in business since 2017 and you just started in 2022. Like, what's different? And so you have to sweeten the package. You've got to, as a business owner, you cannot just be good at spray and foam. You cannot be just good at marketing. You cannot be just good at communication. You have to be a very rounded individual, a round package. And so you've got to be able to shoot from the hip and you got to be able to read people. You've got to be able to read, okay, this customer, they don't want any fluff. So don't give them extra information because that's going to turn them away. But this customer over here, they want you to tell them they have beautiful eyes and that they are amazing individuals. And so you've got to know how to work a deal and you've got to know how to read the room to give it to them in a way that they are receptive. And it's not lying, it's not
Mhm.
manipulating, it's just being a communicator. And then
Yeah.
backing up what you communicate to them.
You ever look at a job that somebody else landed and think, they hired him? Are you serious? That's what happens when your Google profile doesn't show up. Or even worse, it shows up but has no photos, no reviews, and has an outdated phone number from 2009. Spray Foam Genius Marketing fixes that. We get your business found by people who are ready to buy. Don't lose another job to somebody that is half as good as you. Hit us up here at sprayfoamgeniusmarketing.com and we'll help you get to the top. We had a guy call us last month and said he hadn't had a lead in over 3 months. Turns out his Google business profile was unclaimed, had 0 photos, and he didn't even know what SEO was. Fast forward, we fixed it, we optimized it, and he booked 6 jobs in just 2 weeks. And guess what? He called it free money. Spray Foam Genius Marketing turns online crickets into booked jobs. So go check us out at sprayfoamgeniusmarketing.com and get out of the no lead zone. What I'm hearing from you is like basically being a chameleon.
Absolutely.
Right. So like one of my first sales jobs was actually door to door, and how difficult it is to sell. This was literally frozen meat, frozen steaks at the door, where nobody's expecting to buy meat from a door to door salesperson. And what I learned from that is if you walk into a garage, some guys in wrenching on an old hot rod, well, you got to find that common ground. And so having a conversation about the hot rod is going to be a very probably common ground if you know anything about classic cars.
Right.
We'll just say.
Yeah.
For you, if you walk into a house and you can see that they're, I don't know, Denver Broncos football fans, like maybe you know a little bit about the Denver Broncos, that you can kind of use that as the bridge
That's
in
right.
order to be able to sell your spray foam services, or to have like, kind of find something that you can
That's
warm
right.
that person up. It's almost like a guy at a bar trying to pick up on a girl. You just don't ask her to go home and sleep with you immediately. It's like, you got to have a little bit of like common ground, some conversation, and then eventually, they get to know Courtney as a
That's right.
person, and they can tell Courtney is like, this is the gal I want to have
Right.
this job spray foam from.
Being human, I would say, is the biggest thing, being a business owner, because we've got True Team that is in the spray foam industry, and we've got oh, what's that other foam company? It's a large foam company.
Koala.
You've got Koala. Um, I can't. They're pink and blue. I can't think of the
Spray
name.
foam genie.
Nope. They started out
iPhone.
in Montgomery. iPhone. Yeah.
iPhone. Yeah.
So you've got these large companies. Um, and what I have found is people do not like to be treated as cattle. And so
Mhm.
they would prefer to invest in a a small local business. They want to know the person who owns it. And so finding that connectivity point is crucial. Like you just said, like if they like Denver Broncos, be able to find a way to weave that in your conversation. And that's something that I've started from the very beginning. Um, and that comes from me having a background in sales. When I started out working as a teenager, I sold men's high fashion men's clothes in a low budget poor town.
Okay.
So I had to be able to make sales to people who are like, I don't spend more than $15 on a pair of pants. And you had to convince this person to buy these Italian jeans.
Oh man. So you got really good at
Selling.
pointing out the reasons, and I mean, to me, and like sales is like, we'll just say a form of kind manipulation. I mean, you have to be able to show this person, or make that person see through Courtney's eyes
Why they
what they
need
may
it.
not see themselves.
Like you
Yes,
have to
exactly.
but spray foam is an easy sell. Like spray foam, especially in South Alabama, is an easy sell. And so that's something that I did in the very beginning with my TikTok channel is my metal building that I have. I used my thermal gun to go around and show the temperatures. This is what the metal is right now, no spray foam. And then I did it. This is what the metal is now with 1 inch of spray foam. This is what the metal is now with 2 inches of spray foam. So when you believe in what you sell, it's not manipulation. You're just getting that
Yeah.
person to believe. Um, and
Yeah.
you're showing them the facts. I'm not having to sell someone who shouldn't wear Italian jeans. Italian jeans. I'm selling someone an investment, and so I feel good about what I'm doing. And when you feel good about what you're doing, then you don't feel like a used car salesman. You feel like I'm helping this person make a wise investment.
Yeah, and I'm sure when you're selling jeans, it's not just specifically the jeans themselves. It's the swagger, it's the
Yeah.
feeling, it's the confidence that comes with buying a pair of those jeans. It's kind of like there's a saying about when men go get their haircut at the barber, they're not it's not really about the haircut, it's about the confidence
Hmm.
that comes with a fresh
Hmm.
cut. And I don't know if that is the same with women because men always are getting their haircut versus like my wife gets her haircut like 4 times a year. I'm every like 2-3 weeks,
Yeah.
so it's that confidence that comes with it. And it's similar to like what spray foam come with. Well, your utility bills, like your house is going to be cooler or warmer, or look at the difference with this metal
Hmm.
building. Like, oh my God, it's so like you're saying, it's such an easy sale because you're selling something totally
Yeah. And
different
you're appealing to
than
like
compared.
the Tim the Toolman Taylor, how he's like, ha 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 ha, And it's like,
Yeah.
do you want to be that man that has the garage, but you can never use it because it's so hot to work out? Or do you want to be like, yeah, come work on your car at my garage? I've got spray foam. And so then
Yeah.
you're like, hoo, 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 I've got a spray foam garage. So, like, there's been several jobs that I've sold based on that mentality. And the wife was like, I wanted a swimming pool, and we've got this shop with spray foam instead. It's your fault, Courtney.
Oh my gosh. I love it. I'm sure there's a little bit of of your day to day that you have to sell the woman probably more than the
Yeah.
man in situations like that.
Oh, yeah. The man's like,
Because I mean,
100%. Yes, yes, yes. And the wife's like, I mean, you don't even work on your car. You take it down the road. Like, why do you want spray foam in this building? And so,
yeah, and I'd much rather have a pool or a new deck or a patio or outdoor
yeah.
cooking space or whatever it is than some stupid spray
Uh
foam
huh.
shop.
Yep.
Um, you brought up social media a lot, and I think it's important because a lot of the guests that we have on here, they haven't really either started their business the way you have or continue to grow. Is there any tips or tricks for somebody that's like maybe just starting, getting started with the social media that you would share to kind of help grow things? I know, getting on TikTok and putting together TikToks or reels, it can be quite intimidating. And sometimes people just don't know, like, what do I even do? What do I even
Yeah.
talk about?
Yeah, because like you feel silly. You're talking to your phone, not really talking to a person. So you just have to get over yourself. You have to get over your ego. You have to get over yourself. Um, and then put out information that you tell your customers. When you talk to a customer, what are questions that they have? And then go from there and use those questions to provide answers on your social media. Because if one person has a question, 9 times out of 10, there's multiple other people that have that same question. And so think of it that way. Like, again, you're the biggest promoter of you, and take tons and tons of pictures. So everyone that's ever worked for me, they always know, not just as a means of CYA, because yes, there have been times, and just today, I had a customer who said, hey, we've already put up the wood, and these people are saying we didn't spray foam it. We didn't take any pictures, but I know you did. Can you send us the pictures where you spray foamed so we can show and prove that this house has spray foam? I'm like, yeah, no problem. Here you go. So, yes, CYA, but also no one's going to know about you. And then you're going to have no material if you don't take pictures of your job.
Mhm. Yeah. And people, the one thing that I have discussed previously on the show is that people love to watch
They
foam
do.
rise on
Yeah.
social. Like some of these jobs that I see where like even myself, I mean, somewhat in this business, I'm not just some total outsider. I'll sit there and I watch this stuff expand and it's almost
Hmm.
mesmerizing. I'm like, why am I watching this
Hmm.
stupid stuff? It's just something kind of intriguing about it. I don't know if you find a lot of people that are watching your guys' content that just love to watch the
Yeah.
foam rise.
Yeah.
Uh,
There's two stories because I I have the phone pictures and then I have my personal life. And so people want to see an underdog win. And so that's your opportunity by using social media to tell your story. Whereas like I said, as a woman, I show up, people ask me because they're naturally curious. Whereas with a man, they might not ever ask you your story. So you can use your social media to share your story, and everybody loves a good underdog. And so you
True.
can promote your story through your social media and say like, hey, like this guy right here, he's a military veteran, and instead of blowing his money, his VA benefits on something, he chose to invest in himself. Like, go, guy, go. We want to see you win. And look what he's done. And look where he's came from. And look what he's overcame. And look at the projects he's gotten. Like, people love a good underdog story. And so social media is your opportunity to tell the world your story.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Have you always been comfortable in front of the camera and doing social content, or is this another one of those fears you had to get over?
No, I've always, I could talk to the plant behind you. My fears were more or less like um, starting something and not having a fallback plan. But like talking to people, I've always been able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you have the gift of gab, they say you will always be successful in this world, no matter if it's with spray foam or selling men's clothing. All the medical career, I'm sure you were good at whatever that entailed, just because you're obviously a very personal person, and which always makes me a little bit scared for this generation that's coming up with my kids. They're like just so like they just text
Right.
message each other. They don't even ever get on a. I encourage my kids to get on a
Yeah.
FaceTime so that they can actually, you know, have a real conversation with their friend, as well as like there's so much to be learned through our
Mhm.
body facial expressions
Mhm.
and such. So I'm sure that you would be successful no matter what, but there is always that voice in all of our heads as entrepreneurs is, what if this doesn't work out?
Mhm.
Speaking of that, did you ever have a plan B?
That's what I always tell people. I had no plan B when I started this business. I had no plan B. It was all in. And if I fail, I don't know what I'm going to do. I had used all of the money that I had. I had sold my house back in South Carolina, and from selling the house, I had X amount of dollars. And I said, okay, I've got X amount of dollars. I can either buy a house in Alabama, but once I buy that house, there's no
Mhm.
more money, or I can invest in a business. But if I go all in this business and the business fails, I have no house and no business. Um, and so that's where, like we talked prior to the show, is you can't outwork hard work. And so I just knew that, all right, God's given me this opportunity. Because there's even even though there was spray foam companies in my area, there weren't a ton.
Mhm.
So I took that opportunity and invested in myself, and so far we're working. We're making it work.
Heck yeah. I love, I mean, the whole thing that I hear is this underdog vibe from you, and never there's no option of failing.
There's no
And
quit. I can't quit. I can't quit now.
I think there's a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs out there that have a plan B. And I think sometimes the plan B can really affect the
That's
plan
right.
A, because it's like, oh, well, if this doesn't work out, my parents are going to bail me out, or I have money in the bank, or, or we're young and we don't have mouths to feed, or whatever it is. Right. It's like, there's always that plan B that kind of gets in the way of the plan A. And from what I hear is, not having the plan B really has probably helped you be successful, because at the end of the day, it's a lot of pressure to have as a mother, to be able to take care of three boys, and soon a fourth child here, and as well as like setting the example. You had so many reasons to succeed and so many reasons to
Mhm.
fail, and what we focus on is what
That's
we
right.
become. And obviously for yourself, um, I don't know if you believe in manifestation and future forecasting, but man, like not having that plan B is definitely, in my personal opinion, has helped you be as successful as you are
Oh, for
today.
sure. My yeah, I I couldn't fathom what a plan B would be because of the energy it's taken to make plan A work.
True, right? It is definitely exhausting being a business
Yeah.
owner. I'm sure as a mother, and being busy, especially with boys, as well as being
Hmm.
pregnant now. I'm sure you're running on empty all the time, as well as this business that is, all businesses have their toll on us as business owners. So what's your guys' crew look like these days? I know you talked about, you hired these couple boys. The one boy thought he could lay butter and was like, oh, I've made it. I'm going to leave Courtney. So you lost that guy, but like, what's your guys' crew look like? I mean, I know you've been in business only a few years, but what's it look like
So
now?
after that guy left, I hired two new guys, and one of the guys he's still with me today. And you can ask anyone who has met Steven. I will fight somebody if they try to take my Steven. Like I will go to jail. I will go to jail. Um,
She's
I'm
crazy about
crazy
Steven, though.
about Steven. But so I hired Steven, and he's a Tasmanian devil. He is. But he will get in there, and if I say, "Hey, Steven, this is the job," he gets in there and he gets the job done. And so I've had other people come and go, but Steven's been with me pretty much from the very jump, like with the exception of the first 8 months or so. No, he came in after the first year. And so he's been with me now going on 2 years. Um,
Okay.
but here recently I lost another guy, another sprayer, and then I would be a backup sprayer. Well, pregnant, you can't be a backup sprayer. So
Yeah.
it's been challenging because we have two rigs. I ended up buying my dad's rig from him and spraying all
Mhm.
his projects, which is so funny to me. Um, so we have two rigs, and I'm down to one sprayer, and I am looking for a second sprayer. But, as the business owner, you don't want to just get anyone because, like I'm sure many people have had, and this is what we talked about off camera. Um, you can be a business owner who's educated, but there isn't really a trade school that you can go and be like, hey, pass this around to all your boys that are learning how to spray. You do on the job training,
Mhm.
or you take someone out of who's already been in the industry. So
Yeah.
I've had two or three guys say, oh, yeah, I've got 5 years experience. And then you let them spray, and you realize really quickly that was 5 years of their
Yeah.
dreams. They don't know what the
Yeah.
heck they're doing, and they will cost you a lot of money. So you have to be very, very
Mm.
wise who you bring on board, because bad spray foam can put you out of business fast
Yeah. So Steven is carrying the weight of the company being the main
right
sprayer
now.
right now.
And Steven just got injured. So
Oh no.
he's been out. So Spray Foam Worldwide
Jeez.
has kind of like a small group of people that are called gun for hires. And so I've been having to
Hmm.
pull from that and use the resources of people that I've met through the spray foam industry. And people in the industry, they've kind of learned my story, and they know who I am, and they know that I'm a hustler. So they're like, we got to help Courtney out. So I had Dominic Plumba, who came and worked
Yeah.
for a week and a half for me.
We know
Yeah, so he came.
he's a former
Yeah, so
guest.
he came out and helped, and I was so appreciative to him. Um, so I have made really great connections within the industry um, throughout this time. So, and Dominic was like, okay, I said, this is a guy that wants to come. He's like, I've never heard of him. I don't know if I would trust that, Courtney. And so it's nice to have pillars of the industry who can give you advice.
Today's episode is sponsored by Spray Foam Genius Marketing. Let me ask you, is your Google profile still asleep? Because if homeowners search spray foam near me and you are not able to be found, you are invisible. Not only are you invisible, but you're handing jobs over to the guy that has duct tape in his van. We fix that. We take care of your Google business profile, your website, your SEO, all those things that you don't have time for. So you get more calls, more leads, more booked jobs. Visit sprayfoamgeniusmarketing.com and let's turn your foam into fortune. Yeah, we've had, I think, 3 hired guns on the show. Dominic being one of them, Charles Neville's be another one, and blanking on their person, but I think we've had 3. And having to be able to have those guys in your back pocket, I think is really, really important for specific situations like this, where you're like, I'm pregnant. I'd love to be spraying, but I can't, I don't want to harm my baby, but I have a
Right.
business to run. So like, and then my guy's
Right.
hurt.
Right.
Like, what do you like?
And
It's amazing because
that's how it is.
those people are saving
Oh,
your
yeah.
bacon right now.
Yeah, they sure are. Because when it rains, it pours. It's never when it's an opportune slow time. This is busy season right now. This is busy, and busy
Yeah.
season is when you've got to really hump and make your money so you'll have a nest egg when it's slow. So if you go down during busy season, that could put you out of business. There's so
Yeah,
many
exactly. Especially
things.
when you have the jobs that are already
Hmm.
lined up and they're expecting. Courtney, we just finished up this, these buildings or these homes, and we're expecting you to be here in 3 weeks to spray all of them. And now you're like, I mean, that phone call of like, we're not going to be able to be there because I'm pregnant and my main
Hmm.
sprayer is hurt. That could
Yep.
devastate you. Uh, so thankfully, and huge shout out to those
Oh,
hired
yeah.
guns that are
Those
out there
are,
that are flying.
some of the titans of the industry because they come in and get us people that are stuck out of a bind. Yeah. I'm thankful that
Yeah,
there's such a thing.
I know it's interesting, the guys that have been on the show that we've had conversations. To me, it is a very lonely lifestyle, I feel, because they don't know where they're
Hmm.
going to be. Their home base may be like Massachusetts now is where Dominic's at, but I know he was in a period of time in Texas, and Charles was living down in Arkansas, and home base is
Hmm.
Idaho, and was previously in Alaska as home base. It's like, gosh, when you're away from your family and you're on job sites for weeks at a time or a week or whatever the case is, it can be extremely lonely. And then I start to ask them, like, why are you doing this? And if you watch Dominic's episode, it was really just about giving back and be able to help people, because he has such a
Yeah.
big heart,
I'm,
which you have to
and
have
I'm
a huge heart to
a
be able to
beneficiary of his big heart. I'm so thankful.
yeah, what a great guy. I'm glad you got an opportunity to work with Dominic. Plus, he's a super humble guy. Most people would probably look at him as one of the OGs or the
Hmm.
legends of the business, but he won't ever take that as a compliment. It's
Yeah.
unfortunate. Um, so one of the things that we always like to chat about and wrap up the show with is the question about regulation. And I know pre-show you were saying I have a different take than anybody else that has had. I'm sure I have a different take than anybody. So my take is there's a lot of folks, and I joke and I say I could go and I could buy a rig myself tomorrow if I had the money and become I'm a spray foamer. I own a spray foam company, and trust me, you don't want me spraying your house because I have no
Hmm.
clue of what I'm doing. But what's your take on regulation, and do we need it in this business, and where does it start, and how would it affect a person like yourself?
So my take is, if there were a bar to entry where you had to have um, X amount of experience prior to owning your own business, I could not be where I am now. I could not have fed my kids and give them the extras that they have because I don't come from spray foam. And so my take is, there should not be a bar to entry to get in the industry, because if you're terrible at what you do, no matter if it's spray foaming, building a house, plumbing, electrical, the world will flush you out because you cannot
Mhm.
continue to do well if you don't provide quality. Um, but on the same token, I do think that it's important once you're in the industry that you continue to get continuing education by going to Spray Foam Worldwide and SPFA functions where you learn more and continue to, um, you know, put more feathers in your cap of knowledge. So I don't think that we should say you can't go buy a rig. You can't go buy a rig because who am I to say that you're going to suck? Because I'm a prime example of like, hey, this girl went with no experience, bought a rig, and now she does multi-million dollar projects. And you
Mhm.
could be stopping someone great. But I also invest back into education for myself and for my crew. Um, so I think it's a balance, but uh, it is not preventing a bar to get in and putting a little bit of a homeowners. Like homeowners need to do their due diligence. And I think a thing that I see all the time in Spray Foam Worldwide is people are like, oh my gosh, they're putting 2 inches of close cell and they're charging $1.10 a square foot. I can't compete with that. Well, no one can compete with that, but that business is going to go out of business because they can't compete with that either. We've got to let the
Mhm.
bad flush themselves out. And it's painful and it stinks because we see people who use their hard-earned money, um, pay for a bad job, but at the end of the day, they took that lower bid because they wanted to save a few bucks, and they didn't do their
Yeah.
due diligence, and they didn't make sure that that lower bid had the experience or the insurance to back up what they're saying they can provide. So I think a lot of it, the homeowner doesn't want to take on the responsibility, but at the end of the day, they're the ones that are getting the service and they've got to do their own research. And so if we put it on the homeowner like, hey, go look up this company and ask for their insurance. Ask, you know, prov- they need like make the company provide to you why they should be the one you hire instead of just saying, oh, they gave me this bid and they were the cheapest ones. Well, that's on you.
Yeah. So, how, from a homeowner standpoint, how does one know? I mean, like, for example, I've now learned what good
Mhm.
foam looks like. But if I'm just an average homeowner and you showed me, well, this is a picture of some crappy foam that these guys spray, and this is a picture of what ours look like. Like, how does one determine if you're the go-to company
I
besides
wouldn't even put it
pictures?
on the homeowner
I'm
to know
sure
what good
have it.
foam looks like. I would put it on the
Yeah.
homeowner to ask for that company's insurance.
So let's say, for example, that company does have $1 million or $5 million policy
Mhm.
like you guys do. So it's apples to apples. Where does a homeowner go after that?
If it's apples to apples in this company, um, then whoever gives them the warm fuzzies. But if the company has the insurance and it ends up being bad foam down the road that's still off gassing, well, that company had the insurance policy, so the insurance will be able to be filed against and they'll be able to get that remedied. Because the biggest issue for people wanting regulation is to prevent bad companies from spraying bad foam, that there is no way for the homeowner to get back the money that they paid. So ultimately, I
Mhm.
think the biggest thing in our industry is pushing for companies to be appropriately insured. Not so much
Got
regulation,
it. Yeah.
but appropriately insured because there's so many. When I first started, my policy, I was listed as a insulator. It didn't cover spray foam.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of policies that don't cover spray foam. They cover fiberglass.
Yeah.
So I think that is what is most important. uh, Second, then education, but being appropriately covered because, like I said, you can be educated and you can be all of these things and then still hire someone who puts out bad foam And what are you going to do about it if you don't have the right policy? You're going to have to eat the money, go fix it, or get a bad reputation by not fixing it.
Yeah. So those that are tuning in, listening, Courtney's saying, make sure you check your insurance policy to make sure you're actually covered, because, if you don't have an agent, let's say, for example, you just bought some insurance policy offline and you say, yeah, I do insulation, blah, 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 blah. Like, there's not a person that's asking you, okay, Courtney, are you guys just doing blown in or bat? Or are you also doing spray foam? Oh, we do spray foam. Oh, I didn't know that. I got to make a change to your policy. It's going to increase it, or whatever the case is. You may have a policy that's not going to cover your butt in case of a situation, because, like Courtney and I are talking about, something could happen. We trust in our employees. Courtney's been out there in this world of hiring guys that say, hey, I got X amount of experience. They step one foot on the job and you can tell they're liars, or whatever they were doing for 5 years. They were, as you said, were dreaming for 5 years. Right. So check your policy. So outside of the insurance policy, what would you say? Because I feel like there is some self-regulation that needs to happen within the spray foam world, because if not, I feel like the government, the Washington, D.C. suits are going to get involved in, and then we don't really want that to be happening, because let's just be real, when that happens, the guy that's making the rules has never
And they're
done what
always
you
going to
do.
go to a far
So
extreme. And that's where I say having continuing education. Like, all right, you start your business within 6 months, you need to have gone to X amount of hours to continue your education. And that's what I did. I started in August. I went to my first SPFA event in February in Daytona. And then every
okay.
year since then, we've gone to the SPFA Spray Foam Worldwide event to do our classes and continue
Yeah.
to get education. And then use our manufacturers, our chemical manufacturers. Shout out to AccuFoam and UPC. That's who we've used, and
Yeah.
they've given us training, and we've taken advantage of the techs that they offer. So there's a world of opportunity, and I never want to prevent someone from having the opportunity that I was given. I'm never going to try to regulate something that has been the biggest blessing for my family. I don't want there to be a bar of entry, but I do think there needs to be a responsibility for you to continue to educate yourself.
Yeah. And also, I think it's really important to know the science
Absolutely.
about what you guys do. Obviously, that's probably the biggest thing is the science. And if you understand the science, then you can probably spray the best foam, understanding the science of it. But if you don't understand the science,
Yeah.
hard to get there, from my understanding. So, um, guys, listen to Courtney. She obviously has a very different take on regulation. I love it, because it's something fresh that I haven't heard before. And obviously she I don't want to say you've made it, because the business is still fresh. I don't know if we ever
Never.
say we've
I'll
made it,
be
no matter
85 years
how
old and
far
say
we're in.
I still have a long way to go.
Yeah, but I feel like you're onto something. You've overcame a ton of just obstacles in life and in business, and being female, and in a male dominated trade. And gosh, such an amazing story. She's even decided that she's going to do this podcast live from a hospital room. There's nothing stopping Courtney. You're an absolute inspiration, and I really have enjoyed having you on the show. How do people get in touch with you? Like, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you? And is it your
For sure.
socials? Is it to
Um,
follow you on TikTok,
Follow me on
Instagram?
TikTok. It's Courtney Old South Insulation. Facebook Old South Insulation. My personal is Courtney Sanders. Yeah, reach out. Any of those are great means to reach out to me.
I love it, because there's been, from my understanding, what you've shared, there's been a lot of people that have, that you have in your back pocket for inspiration. And I'm sure there's some youngster that's out there, male or female right now, that's going to be tuning into this going, you know what? I need to connect with Courtney, because she is obviously an amazing human. as well as, you know, very, very much so have a perseverance mindset that nothing is going to stop her. She's now going to have four mouths to take care of, and that's a lot of responsibility, as well as, you know, figuring out what's going to happen with Steven and his back injury, and who's going to be spraying after the baby comes. And like there's a lot of things coming ahead. So
right now.
I wish you the best of luck, and really appreciate you coming on the show. Make sure you guys reach out to Courtney and connect. Courtney, it's been amazing.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for
the
coming on.
opportunity.